Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom as always, and welcome to the Just Sing podcast. You are now tuned in to So Frail Conversations. I think it's important that before I go deep into it, because So Frail is like a rabbit hole, you know what I mean? And before I go deep into So Frail, I think I need to, first give the basis as to why it was even written in the first place. You know what I mean? Why this is being conceptualized. You feel me? Because like I get a lot of speculation on what it is, and there's a lot of misinterpretations, and I feel like the best way to get the understanding of something is get it from the horse's mouth. So nay motherfucker. But anyway, like I was recently talking to a few people, and they was telling me how they recommended my book to a couple brothers and shit. And as soon as they recommended it, like, they recommended, read So Frail, Reality of Black Man Masculinity. And, first response is, my masculinity's intact. It's like, bro, nobody's trying to come for that. You know what I'm saying? Or nobody's trying to attack you on that shit. But I understand why it's like that. I understand, it's the title, So Frail. You know what I mean? Then you have Black Man Masculinity, attached to it. So people are going to automatically assume that it's, it's an attack. But that's not in any way, shape, or form what it's about. I can show you that, like, I ride with my brothers 100%. So for me, it's about us, growing, becoming better, and just, evolving and transforming. You feel what I'm saying? So the title itself, So Frail, that came about because at the time in which I wrote it, like, that was a hashtag. Like, motherfuckers was really going in on masculinity, or like, your masculinity so frail, masculinity so fragile. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna flip it, but I'm gonna use it at the same time. So it ultimately developed into that, which then segued into So Frail 2, Toxic Femininity. And that's how that even came about, because it was written in a time when everybody was calling femininity toxic, or they were just using the word toxic as a whole. So, it kind of has, its role, and it, serves its purpose. But before anything can truly be thoroughly understood, like, you got to understand the basis, and I want you to understand my mind behind it. You know what I mean? This is not in any way, shape, or form me throwing shots or jabs at my brothers, as I said before, because it's like a lot of the shit that I'm talking about is like shit that I've been through, shit that I went through, my immediate circle, my homies growing up, like all of that shit we all dealt with on a regular basis. So it's like at some point you got to get to the understanding that, all right, I need to do better, or I need to do more, or there is more out there. You feel what I'm saying? So I went on like a spiritual journey, I guess, or conquest, to understand what it is to be masculine and shit. You feel what I'm saying? It's like I reached a cap, and when I reached that cap, it was like, yo, something's off. And so, in Rest of Soul, as Toni Morrison said, if you can't find the book that you're looking for, you got to write it. And so here we are. So Frail, a reality to Black male masculinity. So Frail 2, Toxic Femininity. This whole thing is about masculinity and elevating the masculine principle as an essence, you know what I mean, for my brothers and I. And, as I define masculinity, it's the spiritual, mental, and the physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction. And with that definition, we're gonna explore it a lot deeper, and we're gonna get to a different core of it all. You know what I mean? Because I understand that we need to see the essence of it, as opposed to just the details and shit. You know what I mean? So with that being said, we're gonna take a quick break. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna take a quick break. But before we take that quick break, make sure you follow me on all social media outlets. Instagram _just_sing_ the just Sings merch, the Hitting It Raw program. That's where my vegan class is at. And of course, my books are, being sold wherever books are sold online, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. And, we're in the works of getting things in motion to go take it to the next level to other Black-owned bookstores. So just wait on that process. But we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Oh yeah, and don't forget to visit IamJustSing.com. There, you can get all things Just Sing. You want to add the So Frail series to your library? Visit IamJustSing.com. You want to learn how to master the market for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSing.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSing.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So just take a quick peek into my world and see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it. You will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. Welcome back. We were leaving off from the last segment about defining masculinity. You feel what I'm saying? And masculinity, as I define it, is the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction. The reason why I crafted that as the definition is because, you feel me, like, in order to thoroughly understand something, the first thing you have to do is define it. You feel me? Like, no, first you got to name it, then you got to define it. You know what I'm saying? These things have to come in order. Like, you name something, you define it, then you're able to better understand it. Growing up, not even just growing up, just in general, there's been like a set standard, you know what I'm saying, that's been erroneously placed. Like, you ask somebody like, yo, what does it mean to be masculine? You feel what I'm saying? What does it mean to be masculine? Or what is a masculine man? And motherfuckers will tell you shit like, oh, it's a man who protects and provides. A motherfucker who takes out the trash. He walks on the sidewalk, you know, closest to the traffic, and keeps the woman away. He opens doors for women, all this shit. I'm like, yo, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, what is a masculine man? Like, but motherfuckers give you descriptions. You know, nobody has ever really defined what masculinity is. So it's like, how are we understanding this shit? Or how are we even breaking this down on a fundamental principle if we don't even understand it, because we don't have a definition for it? You feel what I'm saying? Like, and this is no shot at anybody, because it's like, I studied a lot of different elders, a lot of different spiritual systems, and a lot of different things to understand masculinity myself. So it's like, but in that, there's never really been a concrete definition. You feel what I'm saying? There's always been description. It's like, yo, this is what men do. This is what warriors do. This is what alpha men do. This is what, you know, the masculine of the masculine do. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, excuse me. It's like you operate from a certain perspective or a certain dynamic, and that's all they do is give you descriptions. You feel what I'm saying? I've asked, women, like, what is a man to you? You know, and I've even asked my brothers, like, yo, what is a man? And so we'll be on some shit like, yo, a man is blah, 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 blah. But we always give details and tasks as to what it is. So it's like, all right, cool. So what is a masculine man? Well, a masculine man is just the man that does this. So we got wrapped up in so much description of it all. You know, you give a template as to what you feel a man is or whatever it is. But it's like, that template can be changed because that template belongs to something else. You feel me? There's no definition to it. Definition is concrete. You feel what I'm saying? Once you have it defined, you know what I mean? Once you have it defined, your understanding of it increases. You feel what I'm saying? So when I define masculinity as the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction, that was my way of saying, okay, it's time to understand it. Right. And in understanding it, by defining it, I was able to understand it and separate it from the essence to the task list. You feel what I'm saying? And like I said, what I mean by the task list is like, what does a man do? You know, everybody knows what a man does, but it's like there's levels to the shit, because now we're starting to blur the lines and do shit that's not necessarily in line with masculinity, but it still makes us a man. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, what is the common ground? You know what I'm saying? I grew up without my father. You know what I mean? I grew up without my father and my grandfathers. Like, both of my grandfathers were dead by the time I was born. And then my father was, you know, doing whatever he was doing. But it's like, I couldn't fault him. I mean, I hold him accountable and shit. But at the end of the day, it's like, yo, in somebody's absence or even in somebody's presence, it's still on you to make the best of your life. You feel what I'm saying? But I knew that growing up, it was like, yo, something's off. Something's off. But the truth of the matter was that nothing was off. It was on, just misguided. You feel what I'm saying? Like I've had situations, dealing with women who would be like, yo, you're too defensive or you're too uptight or you won't do certain shit. And I'm like, cuz that ain't man shit. Like, what the fuck you talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? And in that dynamic, it was more so, it was conflicting with my own definition of masculinity. And I was operating from masculinity without actually defining it first. Because I've always been a rational being. I've always operated from the intelligent perspective. I've always been objective. And it's like, motherfuckers be like, yo, you won't put emotion in shit. It's like, I do put emotion in it. But as a man, I'm supposed to operate from masculinity. I'm supposed to be rational. I'm supposed to be logical. I'm supposed to be methodical in the shit that I do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but because it had never been defined in any way, shape, or form for me, it was like I was oblivious to it, and it happens. A lot of us are like that. You know what I mean? A lot of us lose our essence at a younger age because, we get caught up in the task list. Anybody can do the task list. Oh, I can open the door. Oh, he's a real man. He opens doors. He protects. He provides. Those are basic fundamental functions of life. Like, what I'm saying? Protecting and provision. If that's what makes you a man, you feel what I'm saying? And being a protector and a provider is the basic form of life. The basic form of life. Like, that's just doing the fucking bare minimum. You can't get mad at a man for not going above and beyond. Like, you can't get mad at a man. Like, as long as he's, the provisions are met and the protection is there, he's a man. You feel what I'm saying? But there's so much more to being a motherfucking masculine man. You feel what I mean? So it's like, that plays its role. That plays its role, and it takes its toll. Because if the burden for me is to be a protector and provider, that's where my focus is. But if I don't understand the different tiers of what it is to be a masculine man, and my focus is there, like, I can overwhelm myself. Because I don't know, not on trying to get on no real, metaphysical, spiritual shit, but that protection and provision shit, that is operating from your root chakra energy. You feel what I'm saying? Root chakra is just basic foundation of life. You feel me? Then you got your you got your sacral chakra, which is about your emotions and your sexuality. Then you got your solar plexus, which is about your personal identity. Then you have your heart chakra, which is about your love. And then, you got your throat, your crown, your brow. Your brow and your crown. So you got all of these different tiers of masculinity in the same essence. So it's like, I'm operating from just basic survival, root chakra shit. Like, this is why it's hard for us to deal with our emotions, and I get on that a little bit later, but this is why it's hard for us to tap into that space, and why the illusion is there and why it's so blurred, because we're operating from a task list as opposed to an essence. You feel me? So as long as this task list is complete, I'm good. But if my essence is gone, if my essence isn't there, I can easily be tainted and manipulated into whatever somebody wants me to be, as long as I'm still honoring a task list. You feel what I'm saying? And that's where the problem comes in, because now we have to break down the difference between being masculine and being manly. You feel what I'm saying? Like, being masculine and being manly. Those are two totally different concepts. You feel me? And two totally different constructs, but they have been blurred. You know what I'm saying? So our masculinity. So if we break it down on that perspective, we got masculinity and we have manliness, right? So masculinity is the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction. You feel me? Manliness is a shell. It's a front. You got your muscles. You can fight. You can do whatever you can do. You don't really think too much about shit, though. That's the problem. Masculinity thinks. Manliness is impulsive. It's irrational. It's very emotional. We don't want to admit that shit. When we're manly, we emotional. You feel what I'm saying? And we're so emotional that we don't know what to do with ourselves, because we don't know how to honor our emotions. Why? Because we never, ever experienced masculinity the right way. You feel what I'm saying? So in our manliness shift, we don't fuck with emotion as a whole. You feel me? But I ain't gonna say as a whole. We don't fuck with emotions that we feel gonna make us soft. You feel what I'm saying? But we do fuck with several emotions. We fuck with anger, aggression, and rage for the most part. Those are among the motherfucking quintessential emotions that we operate from. Why is that? You know, that's problematic because a masculinity doesn't teach you to run away from your emotions or to suppress them or to not deal with them. Masculinity as a whole shows you how to understand and rationalize your emotions because it's a polarity. You feel what I'm saying? Emotions, yes, emotion is a feminine trait, not a female trait. You feel me? The gender and the essence are different. Yeah, the gender has the predisposition for its essence. You feel me? Men are predisposed to be masculine, but we still have a feminine nature. Women are predisposed to be feminine, but they have a masculine nature too. You feel what I'm saying? So we have to consider that. So we're going to lead from our essence. You feel me? Women are going to lead from femininity. Men are going to lead from masculinity. So when we're leading from masculinity, we must be rational. We must be objective. We must be intelligent. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about intelligence from the sense of being smart, like just having a whole bunch of knowledge and shit. Now, intelligence is the ability to understand knowledge. You feel me? And then you got to understand. Understanding takes it to another level because you have 3 points of information. You have the knowledge, which is the obtaining of the information. You have wisdom, which is the application of the knowledge. And then you have understanding, which is the application of the wisdom. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like our masculine principle has to be through all of that. And so when we bring emotion into it, but we're only allowed to exhibit anger, rage, and aggression, that's some bullshit. And that's why we get so volatile. Because we don't know how to deal with sadness. We don't know how to deal with elation. Like some of us don't even motherfucking smile. Because we see certain emotions as signs of weakness. We see all emotions as signs of weakness. But yet aggression, rage, and anger are signs of strength. Which is a very erroneous thing. And it's very, very touchy. Because if you honor those as the marks of strength, then you are a very weak person. Because those are among the weakest emotions. Because you lose all sight of reality. You stop thinking when you're aggressive, when you're angry and you're enraged. You don't think anymore, which goes against masculinity as the spiritual, mental, physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction. You're not even feeling this emotion and analyzing it out. Yo, why the fuck am I mad? You know what? Fuck it, I'm mad. I'm gonna break shit. That's not masculine, bro. That's not masculine. That's aggressive. That's some fucked up shit because you're not even thinking about what you're doing. You feel what I'm saying? And so that's where the line gets blurred, and that's where the difference is between masculinity and manliness. You feel what I'm saying? And so, like, I grew up, yeah, I would fight, I would do the things that I would do, but you had to push me to that point, you know? These are innate things within me. There's a lot of us that have to be pushed to that point because we're thinking about the reality of what's going on. Those impulsive motherfuckers that fight at the drop of a hat, I'm not mad at them. You feel me? But those are the ones that women look into and say, okay, he's the warrior. He's that. No. He's a barbarian. And this is not saying barbarian in a disrespectful way. This is saying it because barbarians just act. They don't think. You got to study the barbaric history. Like they just respond. But a warrior, he thinks and he already calculated the situation. Like if you read Sun Tzu's The Art of War, he responds like, you don't even fight. Like every war is already won before it's fought. That's masculine shit. Because you've already broken down everything within your head. You already, calculated everything that you needed to calculate. And then you act and say, okay, is it worth me fighting? Is it not? You feel what I'm saying? So that's where the masculinity conflicts with manliness. You know what I'm saying? But it's also in that same dynamic, understand that masculinity and manliness is like the square and a rectangle. All squares are rectangles, but all rectangles aren't squares, because by definition, what it is. So all masculinity will be manly, but all manliness will not be masculinity. You feel what I'm saying? And that comes in because if we're not truly understanding our emotions, and we're not able to rationalize them, it's going to confuse us. It's going to cause us to operate from a different perspective. You feel me? So with that, we're going to take a quick break and then we're going to be back and we're going to piggyback on the emotions. So just hang tight. Hope you're vibing and hope everything's, copacetic for you. And we'll be back in a moment. All right. Welcome back. And I guess, right. And, we're going to continue off of the emotions, dealing with the emotions and talking about, that perspective. So like I was saying, like, we're conditioned to only operate as men, only have the permission and be permissible to operate from 3 emotions as men. Like, this is the green light. All the other emotions is like, yo, you're weak if you exhibit these. But these three main emotions, aggression, rage, and anger, it's like, yo, those are cool. Those get the pass. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, it's justified. I'm mad. I'm like, nah, that's some illogical shit. You feel me? That's some illogical shit because, you know, we can't be sad. You know what I mean? We can't. And see, that's a problem because the longer the feeling sits, the more it transitions into something greater. Like, sadness becomes depression. You feel what I'm saying? Sadness becomes depression. Like the little small, negative emotions that we shun from, disappointment, frustration, being upset. Like, we're not allowed to be that shit because it's just like, yo, man up. Nah, fuck that. Like, that's that's a problem. Because if we're not able to face our emotions and rationalize them and say, okay, why the fuck am I feeling this shit? We just say, nah, I shouldn't be feeling this shit. That's problematic because now you create a delusion in your mind. Like, whether it's biological, whether it's spiritual, whether it's whatever the fuck you want to call it, you feel an emotion for a reason. It's a natural design that makes you feel that shit. So to say I shouldn't feel that shit, that conflicts with your reality. Because both your unconscious mind and your subconscious mind is acknowledging something that is really supposed to happen, but your conscious mind is trying to retool it. You feel what I'm saying? So we have to condition ourselves to become cold. We have to condition ourselves to become numb. We have to condition ourselves to these things. You feel what I'm saying? And that's a problem because it's like, we look at it from such a taboo perspective. You feel what I'm saying? Like, nah, don't get me wrong. This ain't me saying like be emotional and be soft. Like, no. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying acknowledge your emotions and rationalize them. Like, if something made you feel angry, rationalize the shit. Don't just blow the fuck up. You feel me? If something makes you feel sad, rationalize the shit. If something brings you to tears, rationalize that shit. You feel what I'm saying? Figure out why the hell it's making you feel this way. That's where your masculine principle comes in. That's what we're naturally supposed to do. But you feel me? Because we're not taught to rationalize, when it's time for our masculine nature to kick in, when it's time for our masculine essence to kick in, when it's time for these points, we can't really exhibit them. You feel what I'm saying? Case in point, if a woman is sad, you feel me? And, we console them. Women come to us, and that's a natural thing. It's natural. It comes on the unconscious level. You don't even have to think about it. But when your unconscious and your subconscious mind are aware of something that your conscious mind isn't, you're going to exhibit a behavior that doesn't make sense. You feel what I'm saying? So when we come to women and they're broken down, they crying, they sad and all of this, and we like, yo, don't cry. It'll be all right. We don't know how to rationalize that emotion. And on the same side of that, when y'all come to men, when y'all come to us and, y'all are venting and y'all want to know why we just have a solution because we've rationalized that emotion. That's what we're supposed to do. We're not like, take it to your homegirls if you want to sit in and vent. Like, that's who you take that shit to. Don't bring it to us. But at the same time, we've been conditioned and transitioned into that shit to where that's how we're supposed to operate. You feel what I'm saying? That's how we're supposed to operate. So we supposed to get caught up in the gossip just like you. We supposed to get catty with you and, talk that crazy shit like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? This is like what you feel like. Now, granted, your feelings are valid. I never take that away from anybody. Your feelings are valid because that's your experience. You can't deny that person's experience. But see, the rationale has to come in and say, why are your feelings valid? Are your feelings valid simply because you want them to be, or because the situation was wrong? You know what I'm saying? I got homegirls that when we talk, you feel me? I let them vent. I let them talk their shit. I let them talk about whatever it is. But afterwards, I'm like, yo, what's your part in this? You feel me? How do you maneuver in this shit? Because a lot of times your feelings are valid based off of something that you did, though. You feel me? And that's hard to come by because when we're in this, I just want you to stop. Like, I don't know how to rationalize emotions. When you don't know how to rationalize emotions, when you come into a situation where you have to be rational, because two emotional motherfuckers is just going to be volatility. You feel what I'm saying? As long as we're operating from emotions together, we ain't going to get nowhere. We're just going to bump heads. You feel me? And that principle is what helped create So Frail 2, toxic femininity. Because a lot of the shit that we think is masculine, it's not masculine, yo. It's toxic feminine behavior. You feel me? Now, again, like, I don't associate, I'm on the essence shit, the essential points of life. I'm not talking about just gender roles. So I'm not saying that when a man is feminine, he's acting like a woman or no shit like that. That's not what I mean. When I say feminine, I mean the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of synthesis and construction. But if it's toxic, that construction becomes destruction. And you wonder why our relationships be so motherfucking volatile, because you have two forms of femininity clashing with each other. You feel me? Now, how does this come in? Yeah, it comes in, from our fathers not being there. Not only our fathers not being there, but even if our father's there, he just, kind of lets our mama do whatever she gonna do. You feel me? And it's like, yo, I'm not even gonna argue with her. She'll be all right. Nah, like, two things have to happen. Either you need to leave that toxic shit alone, or you got to check that shit. And I don't mean check it in the sense of, punch the motherfucker in the mouth or be abusive. I don't condone domestic violence. I don't even condone verbal abuse. Like, you feel what I'm saying? That's disrespectful. If you got to raise your voice and speak condescendingly to me to get your point across, you're a fucked up human being. You feel what I'm saying? That's just how I feel. You feel me? I feel like you should be able to verbalize yourself and express what you feel without losing your motherfucking shit. It's that simple to me. You feel what I'm saying? But that's the illusion of the emotion. You feel what I'm saying? As men, we're just supposed to take that shit because a man can take it. Because we grew up, in school, sticks and stones and break bones and words that never hurt you. That was an attack to masculinity, low key. And I'm going to break it down for you how I feel like that. Because masculine, you're supposed to be physically strong. You could take hits, broken bones heal and all of that shit. But words will never hurt you. That's a motherfucking lie. Words will kill you. Words hit you harder than, like, weapons and physical shit. I can heal from that within weeks. But sometimes some motherfucker can say something to you that'll last your whole lifetime. You'll never recover from it. You feel what I'm saying? So that's some ideology that we got to change. But that comes into the words hit your emotions. You feel me? Words hit your emotions. And if you never taught how to deal with emotions, you've been suppressing and holding a lot of shit. You feel what I'm saying? From my own personal experience, you know what I mean? The very, very first time I met my dad, the first time and the last time I physically met my dad, you feel what I'm saying? It's like, I'm an intelligent motherfucker. Like, it's known. You feel what I'm saying? I'm a scholar. I studied. Like, I had good grades in school. But that's all I had. I didn't play sports. You feel me? I didn't do that shit because that just wasn't my realm. It wasn't what I was supposed to do. So, you feel me? When I first meet him, I ain't got no trophies and shit to show him like my brother do. Like, I ain't got no cheerleading, awards and all that shit to show him like my sister do, the physical, shit like that. So it's like, I'm showing him, good grades and, what I'm saying, all that shit. And the motherfucker called me a nerd. Like, I have been called a nerd all my life. I ain't give a fuck because I was still quick with it. You feel me? It hit differently when it was somebody that I was trying to seek approval from. You feel me? He called me a nerd in a condescending way. And then from there, like, I'll never forget that shit. Like, my grades dropped. They plummeted. Like, they plummeted. My mom was like, damn, like, what happened? This is 9 weeks. I just stopped trying. But then it's like, nobody ever told me. Like, everybody's like, your words don't matter. Words do matter. Like, you feel me? Words do matter. He tapped into an emotional state that I ain't know how to deal with. He called me a nerd and tapped into an emotional state that I ain't know how to deal with. That happens to us. And so it's like, again, now I'm going to add it to relationships. Like, I don't condone domestic violence, but from the masculine perspective of understanding, I understand how some dudes can be pushed by the words that a woman says to punch her in the mouth. Because you're going to, like, literally, this is what it equates to. You know what I'm saying? Nobody should be hitting each other. I'm going to say that again, because I don't want this to be clipped in one point and motherfuckers like, yo, he said this. No, that's not what I'm saying. In totality, when a woman can say some shit to get a man to hit her, his physical response is what he feels emotionally. In some cases. Now, that's in some cases. Because most motherfuckers are just weak and they just gonna hit you. You feel what I'm saying? It's just like, because that comes from a different perspective of not being masculine and not being able to, understand your feelings. And from a young age, words were able to affect you because you were never able to truly understand your essence. You feel what I'm saying? And truly understand your emotions. So when we dealing with that, that's how that response happens. So this is why it's like, okay, women be like, yo, all I did was say, because that sticks and stone shit. You feel me? That sticks and stone shit is like crazy. And it's like I've heard women's words hit harder than a man's fist. You feel what I'm saying? Like growing up, like when I was scrap out, with homies and shit. Not even homies, like, just in general. Like I've had women speak to me. Well, of course we were young, so it was girls, but I've had women speak to me in manners that hit me a lot harder than a physical fist ever hit me. That's something we don't even consider. That's something that we don't even deal with when it comes to men, when it comes to us. Like and then we hold it in. We hold that shit in. And then when we blow up, everybody's like, yo, what happened? What happened? You don't know the barrage of shit that we hear on a regular basis, the words that we hear and the shit that takes its toll. And we never learned how to rationalize emotions. How I learned to rationalize emotions and shit and the words that people say, I started roasting. You feel me? It was a defense mechanism, I know now, but I started roasting. You feel me? Because people would joke on things that I couldn't change, like physical attributes of myself that I couldn't change. That's what people would joke on. So, all right, motherfucker. Now, not only am I going to joke on something that you can't change, I'm going to joke on something that you won't change. And this is a problem for you. And that's what I would do. And that's how I got my shit back. But it was like, I was able to take that because I was able to process the emotion. You feel me? I learned to process the emotion better, rationalize the emotions. Like, yo, what am I feeling? You feel what I'm saying? What am I feeling? And that segues into where we are, bro. So that shows like, when we think about what a man is and what a man has become, they're two totally different things. Because a masculine man, a man who actually practices masculinity, emotions don't affect him because he rationalizes them. But a man who doesn't, emotions are going to consume him because he's so busy trying to run away from them. He's so busy trying to hold them, And that's where that shit elevates to. And that's where that shit is taken to, So as far as understanding our emotions and shit, like that's a very, very important piece, but it comes with being masculine and not operating from the perspective of what we think is masculinity, because we've been conditioned to believe that what we're operating from is not like this shit just don't make no sense, yo. It really just don't make any sense, and that, like I said, that's where we blur our lines between what is a man and, what has a man become. Like, being able to take a barrage of emotions, it's not the same as being able to rationalize emotions. You feel what I'm saying? Anybody can absorb the shit, but can you absorb it and dissipate it? That's the real question, and that's where masculinity comes in. You feel what I'm saying? So with that, we about to take another break. I know it was vibing and shit. It was cool. We about to take another break and shit. Hey, huddle up, broskies, because it's time to elevate. The secret to evolving masculinity is to define it, understand it, then apply it. The So Frail series defines masculinity as the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction. From this definition, I explain how masculinity is not just the hat that we wear, but it's the essence that we must exude through application. If you enjoy the So Frail conversations, why not read the books that inspire them? Visit IamJustSeen.com right now to add the So Frail series to your library to get a better understanding of what masculinity really is. I promise. After reading So Frail, you will never look at masculinity the same again. Yeah, you feel me? So when it comes to dealing with those emotions, it's like that's one of the hardest pieces for us. And that kind of segues into why masculinity is so hard, because it's so hard to embrace, because with that emotional aspect and not being able to deal with the emotions, it's hard to be accountable. And I'm big on accountability, because I feel like that's a very quintessential piece to be a masculine. Accountability and responsibility. You feel what I'm saying? Those 2 points are very, 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 very important, in our aspects of life as men. You feel me? And I think somewhere down the line we dropped the ball. And see, I speak in a collective state. You feel what I'm saying? Do I feel like I dropped the ball? No, I don't. I didn't do shit. I was a kid when I came into this motherfucker, but I had to learn from motherfuckers who dropped the ball. But, we can't cry over spilled milk. Like, we can't cry over spilled milk. Somebody got to say, okay, fuck it. Let me wipe it up. You feel me? Let me wipe it up and let's stop dealing with it. You feel me? But like when it comes to accountability, you know, we got to look at the older generation. You feel me? And I catch flack a lot of times from the old heads that I talk to because they're like, yo, you ain't got no respect. Nah, it's not that I don't have respect. I don't have fear. You feel me? Because that's what the generation that preceded us was intending to do. They never respected us. Therefore, we never respected them. But what they were doing to us was instilling fear. They reached a point where that fear no longer works. So they have made fear and respect synonymous. And it's passed down from generation to generation. You feel me? But we don't have that fear anymore. You feel me? I hear all the time, motherfuckers, yo, because they start whooping the kids and shit. They ain't got no respect for. No, we don't have fear for y'all. And that's what's problematic. You feel me? Nobody's ever had respect. Nobody's ever had respect. The problem is there were generations of fear. There was generations of fear instilled. Now we don't fear that shit anymore. We don't fear y'all. And, you know, that's where the problematic piece comes in. Because now we have to talk to the old heads. It's like, they'll tell us, hey, yo, I don't know who raised y'all. Y'all didn't. That's the problem. You feel me? They want to seem like our upbringing. And this is what pisses me off the most about the olders. I don't call them elders. I call them olders, and I'll explain why in a second. But this is what pisses me off most about the olders. You feel me? They criticize our attempt and our focus on saying, okay, we have to change this shit. And they want to say, okay, it's because y'all was raised by your mamas and all this shit. Who the fuck left us alone to be raised by our mamas? You feel me? So this is my shit, right? This is what pisses me off. Y'all can check us because we're younger than y'all. Y'all can check us, come at us and say, yo, we don't know who raised y'all new niggas. Like y'all don't know how to act. Like, you know, I got into it with a dude who was like, I had a conversation with an old head and I was like, yeah, if she already got kids or whatnot, I don't mind stepping in if that's the case. You know, it is what it is. He like, nah, see, that's what's wrong with y'all. Y'all always trying to raise another man babies. And I'm like, yo, that's what the fuck is wrong with y'all. Y'all left babies to be raised alone. But y'all don't want to talk about that shit. Y'all want to talk about the way we move. But y'all couldn't check each other. You feel me? That's why I call them olders. Because they're on our level. They're just older than us. You know what I'm saying? I had seen a social media post where it was like some of the big homies that we thought was big homies were just little niggas that was older than us. And that shit hit me so heavy because it's like, yo, that is the case. Like, there's people that's like 20, 30 years, my senior. You feel me? And it's like we talk at eye level. But when we talk, they want to seem like, yeah, y'all do this, y'all be wild. I'm like, yo, y'all left us nothing to look at. And that's where the accountability piece comes in. You feel what I'm saying? I respect all my elders. I listen to them. I sit at their feet. I learn from them. I respect them. You feel me? Because they left me something. They're leaving me something. They teach me every single day. I study them. I read their books. I do it. Like, I respect my elders, but I have no respect for olders, bro. Like, I don't. And I shouldn't. Because it's like, when I come to you for advice, you can't give me none. That's where our generational shit is fucking up. You feel what I'm saying? That's where the generational shit is fucking up. They wonder why, like, we don't want to come for advice to them. Come to them for advice. I said that shit backwards, but they wonder why we don't. And it's like, why should we? Why y'all don't even want to be accountable for what the fuck y'all did? And I know y'all don't want to be accountable for it because y'all can't check your peers. Y'all can't check your peers. You feel what I'm saying? It's us checking y'all. That's a problem. The children are checking the adults. Y'all think y'all want to look at us and say, oh, we ain't got no respect. Where's your respect? You can't even tell your brother, like your peer, somebody that you grew up with. Hey, yo, bro, that's wrong. Go raise your kids. Oh, yo, bro, don't be treating this woman like that. You can't say, oh, that ain't got nothing to do with me. It's grown. It's like motherfuckers. And it's like, this is who we learn from. And y'all want to say there's something wrong with us? Who the fuck taught us, bro? Who the fuck taught us? So it's like, it's easy to criticize the generation. It's easy to criticize us. And say, oh, the millennials, they just don't know how to act. Who the fuck was raising the millennials? Because if you can consciously say, you gotta own this shit at this point. If you can consciously say the millennials, the new generation, we don't know who raised them. You have to then acknowledge that y'all did not raise us. You feel what I'm saying? We don't know who raised y'all. We don't know who did this. If you don't know who did anything to the generation that preceded you, you fucked up. You fucked up. And that's the reality to it. You feel me? That's the reality to it. And that's what they don't want to deal with. Because what did we learn from y'all? You feel me? What was our rites of passage from the elders? You feel me? You feel me? I didn't really meet an elder till I was already in my 20s. When I say an elder, I mean an elder is somebody who's like, their wisdom is something that I would actually listen to. That's what I define as an elder. Somebody who's like, yo, they tell me not to do something and I'm going to do it because they give me the experience behind it. You feel me? It's motherfuckers that haven't even done half of the shit that I've done in my life. And they're trying to tell me not to do something or to do something. I'm like, yo, you're limited. I said, I can't operate. And these are men that I know. You feel me? I got love for all of the brothers in my family, but this is the thing about accountability. It is what it is. You feel me? When I go to family reunions, when I go to the functions and shit, and I'm talking to the older generation, these are my uncles, great uncles, motherfuckers that are, 40, 50, 60 years old. And they're like, yo, every time I talk to you, I learn something new. That is a problem to me. That's a problem to me because it's like, y'all are learning from me. I'm the generation who's supposed to carry the baton, but you're learning from me. How many of us are in that position? And y'all want to criticize us? You feel what I'm saying? Because we got to look at what was our rites of passage. We ain't learned shit. Our rites of passage was putting on condoms and being safe. Like, that's really what it was. Oh, now you at that point, go fuck some women, just don't have no babies. That was it. And, oh, you either gonna go to college, you're gonna go to the military. Like, they gave us real finite shit. Nobody told us that we could be entrepreneurs. Nobody told us that we can work for ourselves. Nobody told us to tap into our own creativity and create something in the world that'll give us what we need. Not many of them told us that. You feel me? And again, I'm not knocking it 100% because it's like you had to learn from where you came from. But at the same time, don't stifle where I got to go because you couldn't go there. You feel me? And that's a lot of times, that's a lot of times what happens. You feel what I'm saying? Our rites of passage was, you learn how to fight, of course. Even that's getting younger now. We're doing that shit at 2-3 years old. We go fight. And you wonder why your kid, that's all your kid know. Fight. But there's everybody's teaching their kid fight. Somebody gonna fight better than the other. You feel me? We don't teach our kids, our sons really how to rationalize shit. You feel me? Like, they always say you never want to fight a quiet motherfucker. But I've learned that it's not a quiet motherfucker. You never want to fight a person who's operating through masculine energy. They've already calculated what they're about to do to you. That's different. You know what I'm saying? That's a different dynamic. But it's like these whole perspectives and what we operating from, what we're going through. This is like a lot of the shit. This is why I had to write So Frail. I didn't have to write it, but it needed to be in this motherfucking world because it's a problem. Because it's like when we can't go to our elders, bro. We can't go to our elders because they're at a distance. The elders that had become my elders, I had to find them on YouTube. I had to find them on social media and shit. Like, you feel me? Luckily, they had shit recorded. You feel me? In my immediate space, in my immediate circle. You feel me? You go to churches and shit. You don't necessarily get those elders that are going to teach you anything. You feel me? They're not going to teach you any man shit. They're going to teach you pacifism. They're going to teach you how to just coast. You feel me? They're going to teach you to not operate from your fullest potential. You feel me? So it's like, what's our rites of passage? When was the last time we had a rites of passage? To where as a boy, you became a man. You feel me? Some of us are just old ass boys. That's why I'm saying olders. Like, you feel me? At what point was your defining moment where you stepped in to say, okay, now I'm a man? Not, okay, I'm paying bills. See, that's what I'm talking about when we get on that carnal shit. You feel me? Protecting and providing. I'm paying bills. I'm doing that. When did you become a man? To where it was no longer a task, but it was just an automatic function of life. You feel what I'm saying? That's that masculine shit, bro. That's a lot of the essence in which we lose it. You feel me? And it's like, this is what we live by. You feel me? Our mamas protected us for so long. And it's like a lot of this shit is slave shit, bro. Our mamas, they don't like what they raised, but they had to raise us this way to keep us alive. So some of them still do that shit to this day. Like, you feel me? Like, you can't just snap your fingers and now you want your son to be the man that you envision him to be, but you coddled him all his life. And we can't get mad when we don't have certain shit, because we, at some point, your masculinity, maybe I'm just speaking from personal perspective, but at some point your masculinity taps in and say, I gotta snatch this shit. No, you're not emasculating me. Nobody's emasculating me. I gotta take this shit to the next level. But it's safe. You feel what I'm saying? You know, we gotta stop pacifying our sons. We gotta stop pacifying our boys. You feel me? The older generation, like, with all due respect, if any, fuck them. Like, we can't. We need to be looking forward to what we gonna leave for these next kids. Because I'll be damned if I have any kids looking at me the way I look at the elders now. Well, the oldest. Let me rephrase that, because I said I got some elders, but the way I look at the older generation right now, I refuse to have anybody look at me like that. It's a disappointment. It's a disappointment. And you can't tell them that, because then it's like, oh, well, you got to take that up with your dad. You got to, no. I don't have to just take it up with my dad. I have to take it up with his peers, because all of y'all have allowed this shit. All of y'all have set this template. All of y'all have led this to be a reality. You feel me? Because our essence has been stripped away. Our essence has been stripped away. And, you know, I go into it a little bit deeper in the books or whatnot. And I'm not going to go too heavy in that, but our essence, it's been stripped away. And then we strip down essence to kids and expect them to be great. Nah, they can only be great as the weakest link in the clique. The weakest link in the circle. If the generation that preceded me is weak, and I'm trying to be stronger than that, and they're not giving me anything, what do you think is going to happen to me? You feel me? It's going to be a breakdown. It's going to be a disconnect. It's going to be something off that is going to significantly alter the reality. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like, we can't continue to decline, bro. We can't. So it's like, we got to hold these elders accountable. We got to hold the old heads accountable. You feel me? But see, they don't like the way we hold them accountable, because that passion is there. That passion is there from that anger. And that anger is there from being left alone, having to figure this shit out. You feel me? And because we had to figure this shit out, we don't give a fuck. So it's not that we don't respect. We don't fear. And we already didn't have respect to begin with. So understand that when we look at the older generation, we think we beefing with them. We kind of are, because we don't fuck with y'all. We don't fuck with y'all. But with that, we're going to take another break real quick. And then we're going to get back into it. Give me a quick second. I'll be right back. And don't forget to take a moment to go get your exclusive merchandise from Just Scenes merch. At Just Scenes, each piece is specifically crafted with positive imagery and symbolism. From the titles and designs to the descriptions, each style gives you something to feel great about. With everything from hoodies and tees to coffee mugs and tote bags, we have something for the entire family. So be sure to get yours today. Find us on Instagram at Just Scenes merch and get your merchandise right now. All right, welcome back. Yeah, so it's like, you know, that's in the grand scheme of it all. That's what I wrote So Frail for. This is my purpose of So Frail, the So Frail series. You know, there's one more installment coming to it, but this is the whole purpose of the So Frail series. You feel what I'm saying? Like, first off, we got to know what we're supposed to be dealing with. You feel me? And that's where the definition comes in from it. You feel me? And then we got to understand what we're operating from, you know, through the lack of emotions and shit like that. And then we got to hold that. It's the accountability piece, man. Like, that's the point. That's the point. You feel me? And I'm at this phase with it where it's just like, you know, either y'all gonna fuck with it or you're not. You feel me? And I mean that in the sense of speaking directly to the older generation. You feel me? I have the utmost respect for my elders. Like if you see me communicate, whatever, like I'm not disrespectful towards them. But at the same time, we have to get to a point where we can speak man to man. Like there's so much in us that, they want us to remain children. They never want us to come up to their level. I don't know why it's like that. It's like we have a cultural construct where it's like, if I gain something, if I reach a certain point, I don't want you up there with me. I want you to stay beneath me. So I'm not going to give like, nah, fuck that. You know how much farther we can get when we're eye level? You feel me? So it's like, I've reached a point in my life where I speak to the elders as if, not the elders. I speak to the older generation as if they're my peers because they act like it. You feel me? They act like it. And that's the problem. Like, I remember I was, talking to he was about 50, 51. And, he showed me a twerk video on Instagram. It's like, yo, bro, like, I'm not your peer. But since you want to make me your peer, I'm going to speak to you as such. So you can't call me disrespectful when you want to be like me, when you want to do what my generation is doing. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what has to be broken. We can't pass this shit on. We can't pass this shit on anymore. We got to stop it. So that's what So Frail is. It's a reality to black male masculinity. Not only is it showing the reality, it's showing how to break it from the essence. So Frail too, same thing. But that's taking it to the next level, showing the essence of femininity involved into it. So going forward, I just wanted to clear up what I mean when I talk about masculinity. I'm not taking shots at my brothers, by conceptualizing this. You feel me? I'm getting straight to the point. I'm like, yo, this is what we need to fix going forward because our sons can't go through this shit again. They can't. And if I got anything to do with it, they won't. So, I hope, you got something out of it. I hope today was a good episode and, everything was cool. Like I said, we coming back every Sunday with So Frail Conversations. Every Friday, we're going to piggyback off of what we started with YouTube, off what you're talking about seeing, where, I cover pretty much everything, what I'm saying? Whatever I feel like, discussing, you're going to get some gems and some nuggets out of it. So, I appreciate you listening and everything. So don't forget to get your So Frail Reality Black Male Masculinity, So Frail 2 Toxic Femininity, wherever books are sold online. You can also get the Hitting It Raw program, which is my vegan class that, helps you go plant-based and stay plant-based. Also, you can get the Hitting It Raw book, Hitting It Raw Living the Plant-Based Lifestyle. It's an ebook. So, it's available on all platforms digitally. And don't forget, support the channel, if you fuck with me and shit, Cash App, PayPal, support the movement, whatever it is that you choose to do. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy, and I hope you really got something out of it. So until we meet again the next time, peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. You know how it go.